What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the third part of a story where Issei broke up with his harem and decided to leave. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more information. Now, let's get into part 3. Isay had finally rested, the 30th anniversary is huge, and the party was intense. He was a bit exhausted since the day was pretty tense. He had to pick up John, and then the celebration where he had to deal with many people. He took a deep breath and regained his composure. The party was really something. Isay spoke while taking a deep breath. He wouldn't deny it, but being an emperor can be exhausting. He may be the Red Dragon Emperor, but the Emperor of Arcadia was really something. Additionally, he was not getting any quests as the last quest he had gotten was a legendary quest, which was to defeat the Black Arms and end the Ark Civil War. Well partner, you should be getting used to it. Your birthday is literally the biggest celebration anyone could ever give you. Same goes for Juniper's birthday as well. Issei felt a shiver in his spine. The birthdays are really something, especially with Issei being seen as the Arcadian hero that fights for Arcadia, and Issei is really popular, even here. I guess that is true, Issei responded, as someone called out to him. Bad, is something wrong? The one who spoke was described to be a young girl with long dark yellow hair with bangs and green eyes. She wears a long sleeve polo and a black sleeveless polo with yellow lining. She also has a ribbon tied around her neck. She wears a blue and white skirt with a strap wrapped around her right thigh. Is wearing black leggings and golden brown boots. This was Rosemary Arc, 16 years, the youngest daughter of Issei Hyoudou and Juniper Arc. She was joined by another, who was described to be a beautiful woman with brown hair and green eyes. She is wearing a mixture of cloth and armor for her chest, which is colored blue with gold linings. She also has an opening revealing her stomach. On her arms she wears black armor with gold linings, and the same can be said for her legs, with blue armor plate placed on top of it. Underneath the armor is what appears to be red stockings. She is wearing a brown short skirt with a belt and 2 pieces of armor attached to it that is connected to a skirt on the back of her waist. This was Violet Arc, 23 years, the 4th oldest daughter and child of Issei Hyoudou and Juniper Arc. You seem pretty pale, is something the matter? Violet Arc asked with concern as Issei responded, I am fine, girls just need to catch my breath. So, what do you think of our celebration? Violet asked with a smile, as Issei responded, it is quite amazing. You girls did a good job. Thanks dad, speaking of which, you must be excited to head back, haven't you? Violet spoke with a smile. She could finally get the chance to meet her paternal grandparents and her aunt that her father had talked so much about. I am, my dear, I am excited to visit them. Issei spoke with a smile, but deep down he was worried for other reasons that made him worry whether his own parents and sister would recognize him or not. However, he did not want his girls to get worried as he kept a smile on his face. Dad. You are not going to leave us, are you? Rosemary spoke while looking down, as Issei brought his little girl close and spoke, I am not leaving any of you, you can count on it. Issei knew that Rosemary was hit the hardest when Nicholas, someone she deemed as an older brother figure, betrayed her and almost killed her brother. She had feared that her father may also end up leaving when she heard the news that Issei's homeworld has been located. She was worried her father may end up leaving, but that was not the case. Issei saw the Arcs as his family and can't imagine abandoning them. Now, Rose, you know that your father will always be by your side, right? I was there when his betrayal was still fresh in your heart. You can always confide your problems with me, Rose. Rosemary looked at her father and nodded. Even Violet was concerned about her father abandoning her, but seeing this, she was assured that her father will always be in her life. He soon split up from Rosemary and spoke, you shouldn't be sad, today is a day of celebration and I don't want any of my girls to be sad, okay? Why yes. Rosemary spoke while looking away as Issei spoke, Rose, look at your friends and siblings, they are all enjoying with them, you should also go and have fun, my dear. Yes. Rosemary spoke with a much more cheerful tone as she soon left and headed to her friends as he turned to Violet and asked, were you concerned too? Yes, but I have a feeling that you won't leave us, right dad? Violet spoke with a smile as Issei gave a nod and spoke, yeah, I won't. Oh, this reminds me. Violet spoke with a tone that had a smile, Mom has been looking for you. I see, well, I wonder if there is an issue. Violet, however, sensed something off with her mother when she wanted to look for Issei and spoke with a perverted grin. If there is anything perverted happening, please do keep me updated. Be Violet. Issei spoke with an embarrassed tone. He soon gave a sigh, knowing that Violet was even more perverted than he is. That girl of yours, partner, she surpasses you in your perversion. Drake spoke with a mocking tone as Issei retorted, shut it, Drake. The only thing the Welsh dragon gave was heavy laughter, making Issei internally sigh as he soon went to look for Juniper. He wondered what she would want right now. Opening start. The screen shows the system as it starts to load the stats. It changes to a man, surrounded by multiple enemies. It shows Issei preparing for battle, where it soon follows with the others. Juniper, Willow, and a purple-haired woman along with her family are looking at the scene. The scene changes to a smiling white-haired man and a blue-haired woman. The scene changes to a tomb where a white-haired man is giving a side glare as a skeleton man is walking towards him. Soon 3 beings show up with sinister smiles. The Arc family, Arc siblings, and the Arcadian army is shown. The scene changes to Issei facing off against a black-haired woman with a lavender-haired woman in chains. The television screen is shown where Issei is facing against Rias, the latter having hate-filled eyes in her. Juniper is seen fighting off against Akeno, as the former has a smile, while the latter has a glare. The rest of the Arcadian arcs, along with Hyoudou, Jinshiro, Gasper and Mary all assist them. Mary has a water serpent surrounding her. The scene changes to the skeleton god making an alliance with the white-haired man and their subordinates all working together. The swords is shown which is wielded by Issei. The scene changes to Issei and his allies all looking at the sunset as he turns around and gives a smile at the camera. Opening ends. Private room, Arc family mansion, Arcadia, 12 p.m. Issei was in his room, in his pajamas, as he was lying on the bed, he was pondering over a few things as suddenly someone's voice called out to him. "Can't sleep, Ice." The one who spoke was Juniper, and like Issei she was in her pajamas as she had spoken, "Something bothering you?" "No, it's nothing." Juniper narrowed her gaze, she knew when her lover was lying, and she was not a fan, especially when it harmed him. Juniper then spoke, "Ice, I know there is something bothering you, is it about your parents and sister?" "How did you?" Issei spoke with a tone of surprise, as Juniper gave a smile and spoke, "I do know, I have known you for 35 years, and been beside you for 30 years, I know your flaws, and whenever you are sad, and I am not blind so tell me, why is it that you are having a frown?" I am scared Juniper." Juniper was surprised as she asked, "Scared?" "Yeah, I fear that my own parents and sister won't recognize me, Junie." Juniper understood this, since Issei was far older than when he first came here, she wouldn't be surprised if her in-laws have a tough time in recognizing him. She kept her hands around him and spoke, "Surziches and Shiva recognized you, and so would your parents have faith, and if your older sister recognizes you, so will they. Trust me." "I guess." Issei responded, as Juniper gave a smile, and spoke, "You know. They are your parents and they will recognize their child no matter what happens, so that is why. Stay strong and have faith, cause they will be reunited with their son." Juniper's words only were responded by a nod from her husband, as she soon spoke, although. Juniper got up and started to undress her pajamas, and spoke, "We haven't done it in a while, so what do you think? Should we?" Issei looked at her and gave a sigh as he spoke, "And here I thought I was supposed to be the perverted one. Well fuck it, I don't mind doing it." Juniper gave a blushing smile as the couple started to undress and have some nighttime fun. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Violet peeking in, only for Chibi Bianca to smack her head. The next day. Outside the mansion, Arcadia, 9:30 a.m. Issei was ready alongside Galath, Artemis and the rest of his family, additionally 2 more members had joined in with the rest of their siblings. The first was described to be a tall woman with short dark yellow hair and green eyes. She wears a black long-sleeved shirt, outfitted with a red sleeveless shirt that looks to be made out of metal. Top it off with a white corset and belts wrapped around it. She also wears brown gloves, a green cape and skirt. Finally, she wears black pants and dark brown boots. This was Jade Arc, 18 years, John's twin sister and the 6th oldest daughter of Issei Hyoudou and Juniper Arc. The second was described to be a beautiful woman having light blonde hair with a tiara, she had blue eyes, and wore a white sleeveless dress that extended all the way till her upper thighs. She wore a navy blue cape that was overflowing. Additionally, she wore white boots that reached below her knee. Her dress also had a significant pattern, with it seemingly having dragon scales, along with having a small oval design pattern towards the lower side of her dress. Her cape was bound to her dress as well. This was Olivia Arc, 21 years, the 5th oldest daughter of Issei Hyoudou and Juniper Arc. "We are all ready," Olivia spoke with a smile, as Jade added, "Yep, I am excited to meet my paternal grandparents." "Me too." Violet spoke as she turned to her parents, "By the way, how many times did you 2 do it?" Both became red, as Juniper spoke while stuttering, "Be Violet. Come on, please, let us know." Juniper was remaining quiet as steam came out from her ears, as Issei spoke, 100. Isay Juniper shouted with embarrassment, as the children of the family gave a chuckle with Violet, only imagining on how things are, given the pervert she is. Bianca and Aqua remained stoic, but even they were curious like the other children. Juniper sighed in exhaustion, as she spoke seriously. "Okay, enough, we should all compose ourselves, this is a very important meeting. And we should all be prepared. The others nodded, as Artemis and Galath had a small sweat drop, seeing the antics of the children as Galath spoke. It seems like almost all of the kids have inherited their father's perversion to some extent. Artemis nodded, the family's perverted antics only remain behind closed doors, despite this as Artemis spoke. Yep, that is how it is. Artemis spoke with a sigh, she was slightly jealous on how happy Juniper is, looking at Issei, well she was stuck with someone like Marcus, she had no remorse on killing that man either way. She saw Juniper smile, and long back, a part of her wished she was in her place, but she respected, loved and cared for Juniper, and seeing her smile was more than enough for her. She also saw Issei as someone close to her, and he saw her as a little sister. Anyways, we should get going, Great Red has already informed me telepathically that we will be heading straight to the Underworld, so we should get ready. Issei spoke, gathering all of their attention, as they all nodded. Suddenly, the dimensions around them distorted and they looked around, seeing the world completely distorted as Issei, while generating a barrier which allowed the people present to breathe air. This was for his wife, Galath and Artemis to breathe in. So this is the dimension gap, right Dad? Jade asked with intrigue as Issei responded. Yep, there is nothing, and you can't travel without a specific barrier, unless your Great Red, Office, Lilter have the flesh of them. Jade nodded, as Aqua asked. This means, Mom, Aunt Artemis and Uncle Galath won't be able to breathe normally, right? Issei again nodded, yes, Aqua, they would be needing a space shuttle or a magic dimension in order to breathe, but you kids, since you have my blood, you should breathe without any issues. The kids nodded in understanding, as suddenly a massive red western dragon with a horn on his snout and has 2 sets of wings. His overall length measures around 100 meters. The dragon turned around as he immediately recognized Issei and was ecstatic to see them. This was Great Red, the dragon god of dreams, Apocalypse Dragon. Issei. It's been so long since I have seen any of you. Great Red's voice boomed as the children looked at the one that their father had spoken of, the dragon god of dreams. When they first saw him, they felt like they had a connection to him, with Juniper, Artemis and Galath looking at the being with awe. Hey Great Red. It's been a while since I have seen you, it is so good to see you again, speaking of which, where is Office and Lilith? Issei exclaimed with gratitude, as Great Red responded, they have been living with your parents. The dragon god soon turned to the children as he spoke, so these are the kids I was informed of. No need for introductions, I know your names and what kind of beings you are. I see. John spoke nervously. Great Red was considered a true red dragon god emperor, hearing stories from his father about him, as Great Red responded. No need to be nervous in front of me, you are almost akin to family, young John. John nodded as Jade asked, is it true that you have absolute control of dreams and manifest it in reality? Indeed, hatchling, I can do just that, you can be assured that sooner even you can do that, since you are dragon gods from your father's side. Jade nodded, her dream manipulation still needed some training, but she can do it one day. Anyways, the others are waiting and yes, you have to save the girl named Ingvild Leviathan, to prevent that girl known as Carmilla and the man known as Nicholas from using her for her own needs. The moment the names were mentioned, many got angry with Issei and Juniper being the angriest, as Great Red understood their anger knowing the atrocities she had done in Arcadia, and now even her, as Issei spoke. Why Ingvild? May we know that? Issei asked, to which Great Red responded, because she has the power to control dragons with just her voice, her singing will cause immense pain to dragons, and eventually she will be able to command them. The one you know as Nicholas intends for that to happen, he wishes to control your children against their parents. This made Issei and Juniper even more angrier, there is no way that they are going to let their children be mind-controlled by that traitor. Artemis and Galath were also angry, while their children shuddered at the thought of being turned against their own parents. Then, there are other gods that have joined the Black Arms, seeing you and the others in the DXD team as threats, they are Nyx, Erebus, Tartarus and Angramanu, they are going to be a major problem as well. Issei nodded in understanding, as he had to relay this information to the others as well. Well, I will be sending you back to the Underworld, they are waiting for you. Issei nodded as he spoke, yes, thanks Great Red. Not a problem Hatch, sorry Issei, I can't call you that since you have grown past that, we will meet again soon. Great Red's voice boomed as Galath asked, Great Red, may I ask a question? Go ahead, worker of secrets. Galath was surprised at first, but he should have known from the being that consents dreams of the past, present and future. How much time we have before that Carmilla makes Amel affect even dragon gods and potentially even dragons of Arcadia? Great Red spoke with a serious tone, you have 2 weeks, Galath, that is all. Then acting quickly is our only option. Juniper spoke with a serious tone, as the others nodded, the dimension soon changes to the Underworld, or primarily the city of Lilith. Well we are here, let's head inside. The group enters, as they soon saw the doors to the meeting, Issei staggered for a bit, as Juniper held his hand and gave a nod. They opened the door and were greeted by several familiar faces. "Hey guys." Issei spoke with a smile, seeing the people present. He looked at several faces, many old and some new. From the devils, it was the 4 Satans and Grafia and Milikas, along with Sona, Sayerg, Riser, Sikvara and their peerages. From the angels, it was the 4 great seraphs, along with Griselda Corda and Dulio Gesualdo. From the fallen angels, it was Azazel, Penemu, Barakriel and Shemhazai. From the Norse pantheon, Asgard, it was Odin with Thor and Vidar. From the Yokai Pantheon East and West Yokai, it was Usaka, Kunu, Magari and Nerarian. From the Greek Pantheon Olympus, it was Zeus along with Artemis and Athena. From the Hindu Pantheon Mount Kailash, it was Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu and Indra. From the Egyptian pantheon it was Ra, Atum and Horus. From the vampires, it was Ilmenhald Karnstein and Valerie Teeps. From the Aztec pantheon, it was Quetzalcoatl. From the Irish or Celtic pantheon, it was Dagda. From Team DXD, it was Volley Team, Team/Dog, Hero Faction, and many others as well. He could see his older sister Mary as well. Issei also noticed that the Gremory peerage was absent, which was a good thing. Seems like there are some new people here as well. Issei looked at Quetzalcoatl, Dagda and the Egyptian pantheon as they all greeted him. They knew the hero that many talked about had returned. Many had tears seeing Issei return, which was noticeable in Mary and some others, as Mary did not hesitate and rushed to her younger brother as he embraced her. Mary kept crying on her brother's clothes as she kept saying, "Issei, I am sorry," over and over again. "It's okay Mary Nee, I am back." Issei rubbed his sister's back as many smiled seeing this reunion. As the sister looked towards Issei with tears in her eyes, her younger brother had returned. "It's good to have you back, my student." Azazel spoke while wiping his tears. As Issei nodded, Kunu and Milikas also soon rushed to him as Issei embraced the kids. As he spoke, "I missed you too as well, Milikas, Kunu." The 2 kids nodded as they sniffled. Others wanted to talk to him, but now was not the time. Grafia herself wanted to do it, but restrained herself. She will do it once everyone is gone. Mary soon turned around and asked while splitting up. Kunu and Milikas also split up. "Are they the ones Lord Serziches talked about?" Issei nodded as he spoke. "Yep, these are your nieces and a nephew. Our children," points to Juniper, your sister-in-law, points to Galath and Artemis, my uncle-in-law and sister-in-law. Mary nods in understanding, interested in meeting her nieces and nephews. "Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?" Issei spoke with a smile as Bianca spoke first. "My name is Bianca Arc, the oldest child amongst the group." Bianca spoke respectfully as Aqua was the next to follow up. Many looked at Bianca, noticing that she was quite mature and respectful in nature. "Pleased to meet you, my name is Saffron Arc, I am the second oldest in the group." Saffron spoke gracefully and with a smile as several nodded in understanding. "Nice to meet ya, my name is Aqua Arc, the third oldest of the children, pleased to meet you." Aqua spoke cheerfully as many noted her to be the fun-loving type. They are not far off. "I am Violet Arc, the 4th oldest child, nice to meet all of you." Violet spoke with a smile as they all accepted her in response. The next person to speak was Olivia as she spoke. "My name is Olivia Arc, it is nice to meet the people father spoke so much about." Olivia spoke gently with a bow as they all nodded. They wondered what Issei talked about them to his children. "The name's John Arc, the 6th oldest child, pleased to meet you." John exclaimed cheerfully as many noted him to be the most similar to Issei from his tone himself, but they needed to know more. "I am Jade Arc, the twin of John and the 7th oldest child, it is a pleasure to meet you." Jade spoke respectfully as they all accepted her in understanding. I am Rosemary Arc, I am the youngest, it is nice to meet you." Rosemary spoke nervously as many liked the youngest child of Issei, as Artemis soon followed. "I am Artemis Arc, younger sister of Juniper and Issei's sister-in-law, it is nice to meet you." Artemis spoke cheerfully as the faction leaders nodded. Juniper then spoke. "I believed Lord Serziches and Lord Shiva told you about me. My name is Juniper Arc, Issei's wife and the children of the Arc siblings. It is nice to meet all of you in person." Many happily accepted her while 2 of the people were a bit jealous of her, as Galath soon followed. "And I am, Galath Arc, the worker of secrets, and a deathless being. It is good to meet all of you in person." Many were confused on what a deathless was like, as Ajuka asked. "What are these deaths, Lord Galath?" Galath nodded as he spoke. "Well Lord Beelzebub, I would love to tell you, so listen carefully, you too Azazel." The duo nodded as Galath explained. "I am called the father of Deathless. We are a biologically engineered immortal species that inhabit the world of Arcadia. They have their own land in the continent. A Deathless can be physically humanoid or a different creature. Deathless individuals possess the ability to transfer their kips or souls into new bodies when they die. Some deathless are known to maintain rebirth chambers where they can be reborn after death. However, there are 3 ways to kill a deathless permanently, such as a fatal strike from the activated Infinity Blade, Kippy stabilization, which Galath has the ability to do so, or destroying every available body and rebirth chamber. Many were intrigued by this, seeing a new race of beings, as Galath continues, until you have Issei's or Drake's flames, which can destroy everything leaving no trace of it. The ones from Earth DXD understood this, they knew how dangerous Drake's flames are, and they knew that it meant potentially his kids can access that. Issei looks around and noticed Rias and her peerage missing, as Surziches explained. I knew you would notice this, but we haven't told Rias and her peerage about this meeting. For obvious reasons, even after 3.5 years, not much has changed, and believe me, she actually tried to enter your room. Issei and the Arcs were surprised by this, however the latter became angry and worried, as Mary spoke in assurance. Don't worry little brother, I made sure they would never come back. I crippled every last one of them, tore off their wings, you name it. Juniper approved of this as she responded, good job, sister-in-law. Thanks Juniper. Juniper gave a smirk in response. Issei shuddered as Mary can be as sadistic as Juniper, with many of them being equally concerned for this, even the children were concerned and scared, or in Bianca's case nervous as well. Anyways, we should settle down. I will explain on what we are dealing with. Issei and the Arcadians soon took their seats, as Shemazai spoke in a serious tone. Your Highness, Lord Lucifer and Lord Shiva, have already told us about the terrorist organization that Hades is working with. The Black Arms. Issei and Juniper nodded, as Juniper spoke, I will tell you everything I know, this is going to be a long explanations. All we know is that, they have caused massive destruction in your world. Lady Arc. Juniper nodded to Zeus's words, as he spoke. Still can't believe Hades has fallen this low to work with them. The reasons can be seen later, Lord Zeus, we understand that your brother has become this way, but we need to stop Hades and the Black Arms, along with any of the gods that are working with them. Our priority is to deal with them accordingly, and trust me when I say this, the Black Arms are considered one of most dangerous armies that you will deal with, and yes, they are worse than Klepeth. The faction leaders were even more worried, with Grafia flinching on how bad things are. Milikas and Kunu join their parents' side, as Yusaka asks with fear. Worse than Klepeth. Yusaka's words were nodded by the Arcadian Arcs, as Issei spoke, indeed, and they have caused the deaths of millions, if not trillions of innocent sentient beings. That is why I see them as worse than Klepeth, they are basically RageRevan's dream come to life. Several growled upon hearing the man's name, especially Vali Lucifer. If there was anyone that hated the man, it was his grandfather. Issei knew this, and nodded, as he spoke, trust me, the people I am about to talk make RageRevan look like a saint. Who are you talking about, your highness? Vali spoke respectfully, ever since Issei's death, he has lost any and all purpose, only training to become stronger, so that none of his friends from the Vali team, which is basically everyone, meet the same fate as Issei. He became more respectful and mellowed down. When Issei was revealed to be alive to him, he was excited to meet him, wondering if he would still be up for a clash. However, he knew he had to be respectful to him, since he always respected Issei even before he became the Emperor of Arcadia. Issei was himself surprised, he could see some similarities between a younger Juniper and Vali, but he never thought that the certified battle maniac and the rival of Issei would become this mature. He is someone that makes RageRevan look like a saint. Before I reveal who that man is, I will inform what the Black Arms are, and what they are capable of. Vali nodded in understanding as Issei asked, seeing that one of the members is missing as he asked, so where is that cat? Issei's words were with disdain as Vali responded coldly, I have no empathy for the traitor. She had the nerve to enter your home and try to sleep there, especially after your presumed death. She was kicked out of my team and no one knows where she is. Indeed, I also have no care for Kuroka, she can die for all I care. LeFay spoke angrily and coldly as Megari looked down in sadness, ashamed at what Kuroka and Shirin had become. Yusaka comforted her friend in this dark time, as Issei nodded and responded. I see very well, here is what the Black Arms main base used to look like. Issei looked at Bianca as he spoke, Bianca, if you may. Yes father, here. Bianca brought out a small scroll device that showed a holographic image of the Black Arms base. Many of them had an eerie vibe from this location. Issei then explained. The base is located in the Outlands, which is known as the place where all the dastardly, vile, and corrupt criminals or those that threaten the safety of Arcadia go, where they will rot until they die. This place is extremely dangerous due to the terrain and the creatures that reside in these lands. Even the strongest have a difficult time even passing through these lands. It is a forbidden place where no mere race can go to. There is a reason why only high-skilled adventurers or even an entire army are need to go to clean up this mess. The faction leaders intently listened as Issei continued, as for the Black Arms, they're a large organization created by the Arc family, specifically those that govern the kingdom of Erduelu. It was the Ark's personal army, it's comprised of over 3 million to 5 million soldiers. The family in Erduelu manages and funds it, supplying them with the best weapons Arcadia can offer. Originally it served as a good cause, fighting against supernatural threats in the kingdom. Issei then changed the screen as it displayed a man whose facial features give that of a sinister look. He has a pale complexion with wide eyes and long white hair, he braided it and is wrapped around his neck. He wears robes with a different assortment of colors, which are that of royalty, and has many gold ornaments placed around it. The man wears purple cloth around his neck and purple rope tied around his outfit. He wears black pants and boots that have a gold pattern on it and has a bluish oriel cape. He also has some sort of tail sticking out of his back. The man you see here is Vlad Ark, he makes RageRevan look like a saint. Vali noted an understanding as Issei continued, he is considered as the black sheep of the family. He was known for his brutal and inhumane tactics, using his spikes and curse magic to slaughter his enemies. He hanged them on pikes to make an example out of them, he is not one to spare women and children. This in turn led to the Arks to disown him for his actions, especially after the massacre in a city in the kingdom of Erduelu, which took the lives of 13,800 civilians. He was one of the sons of the family that handled the Black Arms, he wanted more power, and he manipulated his family into giving him control over the Black Arms. Thus leading to a coup d'etat where Vlad killed majority of his family and waged a revolutionary war against the Arks. The battle lasted for a year before his utter defeat. Vlad Ark wasn't killed, but him and the rest of the Black Arms were exiled to the Outlands, never to be seen again. The faction leaders nodded as Vali noted that he was really worse than RageRevan, he did everything RageRevan did, but was much more worse. But wait, how did you know of this? Serafal asked, to which Issei responded, cause I fought in the war and was the one that defeated Vlad. This happened when Bianca was still a child. Bianca nodded in agreement as Juniper remembered on how much death and destruction Vlad had caused all those years ago, and even after that he caused even more destruction during the Civil War. Now we get to the main part of the ones that we will be dealing with, the one who is truly in charge of the Black Arms, he goes by the name Nicholas Ark, or now how he is called Nicholas Kane, someone we saw as our own son. Issei spoke while turning his gaze, as many wondered what exactly this man did. Juniper spoke in response. I will take it from here. Juniper changed the screen to Nicholas Ark, as she had spoken. Now Nicholas, he wasn't an Arcadian, but a citizen of the Four Kingdoms, born as Nicholas Kane. He heard stories about Arcadia and wished to see the land for himself. Nicholas went to search for it. He always wanted to be the best, to be the top dog. The Four Kingdoms gave him nothing, and his family was already fine with what they have. But he didn't accept it, so he ran away and left the family he despises. His family was loving and caring, but Nicholas only wanted power. To control those around him. He witnessed many huntsmen act like this and wanted the same. So he traveled for months, searching for Arcadia and found it. He pretended to be a traveler and accidentally stumbled upon Arcadia. Once he settled in, he did his research and was able to figure out who the rulers are, the Arks. So basically he is a psychopath. He has no love or care for his own family, right? Dagda asked coldly. He started to hate this man known as Nicholas, as Juniper spoke. Yes, we both saw him as a son, I saw him similar to Isay, yet he was nothing like that. While that was happening, Nicholas searched for his pawns, gathering his army. He believes if the Four Kingdoms are corrupt, then Arcadia has it as well. Searching for those who wish for power, he manipulated and brainwashed over a dozen children and promised them a better life if they serve him. His charisma is what got so many people convinced. He even went as far as to bribe or kill officers to release multiple prisoners, with him staging it as a prison break. Even gathering many organizations and corporations to fund his army. He even persuaded many of the Ark members who were eager for power and wanted a place in Arcadia. They were those who hated the positions they were given and from there, created his army. Juniper spoke with anger, however there was sadness, even those from the Arcadians' Arks had a look of betrayal, as many of the DXD people wondered just how much physical, mental and emotional damage this man did to them. So, from what you are telling us, he is basically, or pretended to be similar to Issei, right? Azazel asked with anger, as Juniper spoke. Yes, Azazel, that is true. Worse, he is still alive out there. He wishes to destroy us, and he wants complete and total control of Arcadia. He even desired to kill us, not caring for the love and care that we once showed him. His betrayal hurts us a lot, but he needs to be stopped. Issei nodded in agreement as he spoke. You are right, but there is someone worse than Nicholas, and trust me, she is anything but good news, and with her around, she is going to still be a problem. Issei changed the screen. She was a tall and beautiful woman with long curly orange hair, she has blue eyes, and is known to give an emotionless face. She is wearing a white polo that is underneath a black dress with gold linings. She is also wearing a corset with golden buckles, one of them has a jewel placed on it. She wears black gloves and a small cape with the middle also having a blue jewel. She is the brains of the entire Black Arms. Her name is Carmilla Leichenberg. Wow, she looks kinda hot. Azazel spoke with intrigue as Auden nodded in agreement. Yep. She does. Some of the men in the audience nodded in agreement as the Arcadian arcs, especially Issei and Juniper, did not agree, knowing how dangerous she is. Trust me, Azazel-sensei, Lord Auden, she is the textbook definition of looks can deceive. Isay spoke with a growl. Everyone that knew Isay were surprised that Isay could have this much hatred for her, as Mary became concerned as she asked her brother, just who exactly is she, and why do you have so much hate for her? She is Carmilla Leichenberg, another one of the main leaders of the Black Arms and Nicholas's girl. Carmilla is highly intelligent and is known to have the highest IQ in all of Arcadia, to the point it's scary. She is the one who comes up with various plans to win every battle, and even has backups to her backups. Mary was surprised by this, and so were the others, as Issei adds, to put it best, I would say she makes Euclid look like an angel. Graphia became surprised by this, and so was Surziches. They knew what Euclid had done, and if Issei states Euclid was an angel, then how bad was Carmilla? Issei is right, she is anything like how you think she is. She was once a scientist who used any methods to achieve her little projects, in the name of science. The kinds of experiments she does is inhumane and can cause problems with Arcadia. She will kill an entire city, all for the sake of science. Juniper spoke seriously as it made those that thought of her as hot retract their statement. She is a monster in every way. Now even Shiva and Surziches knew how bad the matter was, and they had to act quickly. Now you know how bad the things are, and Hades working with them will only lead to Issei spoke as Zeus responded, only disaster. So what is our plan? We make an alliance. Arcadia is willing to assist the faction leaders in this. Juniper was about to speak when the doors suddenly burst in, revealing the Gremory peerage with Irina. Lord Lucifer, I was told that Issei was here. Surziches groaned in frustration. Someone must have accidentally tipped her to the meeting. Many glared at them, especially the Arcadian arcs, knowing what kind of people they are. Mary was seething seeing them here. Rias, what are you doing here? Surziches exclaimed with frustration in her tone. As Rias looked at Issei, she fails to recognize him. Juniper growled in response, as Issei kept his hand on her, even he was not happy seeing her here. He could see his children, Artemis and Galath, ready to put this woman down 6 feet under. He knew if she tried anything stupid, the only thing she is going to receive is death. I was informed that Issei was here. Where is he? Where is my pawn? Rias spoke with a tone of desperation, yet there was arrogance in her tone. Many frowned seeing what kind of a person she really is. Even those that didn't meet her in person saw what kind of first impression she gave. She is Rias Gremory, Dad's former master. Her tone and attitude reminds me of the incompetent and corrupt officers in the military, Bianca thought with annoyance. No wonder Dad hates her so much, she reminds of the brats I had to deal with in the JROTC. Aqua thought with anger. Honestly, she is disappointing in every way, she has no qualities of being a king. Saffron thought with annoyance. I can see why Dad once respected her before, only to see her true side. She is disgusting. Violet thought with anger in her head. She was starting to really hate Rias. She does not value anyone that is in her peerage, especially someone that has died multiple times for her, and even would have served her as a lover, but she does not value Dad at all, even seeing her as a pawn. Even after all this time. Olivia thought in her head. Usually I love women with big breasts, being a redeed is something I love the most, but her attitude really makes me annoyed. She reminds me of Scarlet from her earlier days in the JROTC. John thought with anger and annoyance. If there was one redeed he hated, it was Rias from what her father told her about. I had a feeling this would happen, she really is a red-haired bitch in my eyes. Jade thought with coldness. Dad hates her a lot, she is nothing but a headache, and the fact that Dad had to deal with her makes me wonder how is she the so revered in the academy. Rosemary thought with annoyance. So she is the infamous Rias Gremory that had caused so much fear in my Ice's heart. I should have known that her brattiness will cause her to come here as well. I am going to enjoy putting her in her place, especially for what she has done to Ice. Juniper thought with a sadistic grin, as she was going to enjoy putting her in her place. I am starting to see why Ice hates her a lot. She really is a headache and a nuisance. Artemis Arc thought coldly, as Galath thought. The fact that Issei had to deal with her for so long, me wonder, how was he able to remain sane while not killing her? Some people really show their true colors when the person is not needed, and I can see that in their actions. If she tries anything against my family, I will be joining the battle. Galath thought with total coldness, looking at zero empathy against her. Rias, just leave, your presence is not required. Azazel spoke coldly as Seraphil added. Azazel is right, we never invited you here for a reason, you are no longer are invited to any of the meeting. Seraphil's words made the peerage shudder, as Sona added. I mean Lady Leviathan is correct, after your abandonment of Issei, I don't think you are welcome here, Sona spoke coldly, as Rias spoke, but Sona, we were. Don't you dare play your friend card with me, Rias. We stopped being friends the day you abandoned and betrayed Issei, so get the hell out of here. You are not welcome in this room. Nobody wants you here. Sona cuts her off and responds. Rias was almost driven into tears, as she retorted. But can you at least let us see our pawn again, we deserve to know his existence, due to me being his master once, Rias demanded, as many were angry at this, especially Isay, who saw that even after 3 years, she was still the same. However, everyone was surprised when someone started to clap as she spoke, bravo bravo. Rias Gremory, so you are the one my eyes talked about so much about, safe to say I am disappointed. Wait, you know where my pawn is? Take me to him. Surziches almost wanted to teleport her away, but Issei stopped him as he muttered, my wife knows what she is doing. So that is how you see Ice. A mere pawn, then he is better off without you. He told me some very interesting things when he was your pawn, one of them is the infamous scene that I like to personally call, say my name, or suffer scene, where if I recollect, you all cornered and pressurized him to call you, your name when you explicitly made it clear that he should call you president. He was about to confess yet you ran off, and then the rest of the girls followed suit, and then what you did, you locked him out of his own room. His own fucking room. Yet, he did not do anything, he even forgave you for your actions. Then you had the gall to break up with him cause he is perverted, when he clearly was trying his best to change. It makes me wonder, is your intelligence become negative sometimes? This is why, Issei is better off without you. Cause an emperor deserves an empress, not a spoiled brat like you. The girls that wanted to be with Isay had started to tear up. Rias was also seething, as in her eyes, this woman did not deserve to be with Isay. Not knowing that this woman can easily crush her like an ant. In response, Rias unleashed a power of destruction onto Juniper, who only grabbed her hand and twisted it as a snap was heard across the audience. The other girls tried to assist, however Juniper was having none of it. She released a portion of her aura, making them shiver completely. She then coldly spoke, stay where you are unless you want to be killed. The girls stayed in their place out of fear. Now then, you have some nerve of attacking me, Rias Gremory. Rias looked at her damaged hand and shot a glare back to Juniper, only for her to follow it up with a kick to her abdomen, causing her to cough up in response. She soon grabbed her head and slammed it to the ground, making her face bleed in many locations. Surziches cringed seeing his sister injured, but shook his head knowing she brought this upon herself. Issei then spoke, my wife is just one level lower than me in terms of strength. All I can say is that Rias has provoked the wrong person, and believe me, Rias is going to wish she was dead. May we know why? Surziches asked with a bit of fear, as the others wondered what kind of a person she is. Issei then explained with a bit of fear. Amongst the Arcadia's strongest, whom Juniper is one of. She is the most sadistic amongst them, and with what is going on, you are going to wish Rias survives this one. Surziches turned to the kids, who all had a looks of fear, knowing how sadistic their mother can get at times. Surziches swallowed a lump of bile in his throat, as he noted that Juniper was almost akin to his mother Venelana, and his wife Grafia, even her brown hair matched hers as well to some extent. All he could say is that, she is fucked in every single way. She reminds me of my wife Shuri. Barakwil muttered to Azazel, as the two fallen angels look at Akeno, and could only have looks of sadness knowing what she has become. Yep, my wife Parvati is also as sadistic as yours is, Issei, especially when she is in her Kali form. Shiva spoke softly, while also having a tone of fear. He knew that once Parvati becomes Kali, almost everyone is done for. Even his kids fear their mother's wrath. Juniper grabbed Rias by her throat as draconic parts are shown across her body, as she speaks coldly, if I see you again, I will make sure you never see the light of day again. Is that clear, Rias Gremory? Rias couldn't speak out of fear as Juniper shouted in response, is that clear? Rias rapidly nodded her head out of fear, as Surziches soon walked forward and spoke, Lady Arc, I will take it from here. Yes, Lord Lucifer, please, otherwise we would end up killing her presence makes me sick. Juniper dropped Rias, who was shivering in fear. Surziches soon activated a teleportation circle and spoke coldly. Rias Gremory, the next time if I see you here again, I will personally send you all the way to Cocytus. Is that clear? Rias couldn't speak due to fear. Juniper soon walked forward and spoke with a mocking tone. If you are wondering, Issei is right there, he has been here this whole time. Juniper points to Isay, who gives the Gremory peerage with Arena a cold glare that makes them shiver, as he had spoken with total coldness. Even after all these years, you still have not changed, have you? And to think I once liked you or any of you, Isay spoke coldly to Rias and the Gremory peerage including Arena, making them cry as Surziches teleported them back minus Arena, who was still present, as Michael spoke. I will be sending you back to England, your punishment will be decided. Michael activated a teleportation circle sending her away as well. I would like to apologize for my sister's actions, Juniper. Surziches spoke with an apologetic tone, as Michael added, I too, as well, for my ace's actions. Please, both of you don't need to take the blame for their actions although, put a leash on them otherwise they would completely destroy any and all work you have done so far. Juniper spoke with a serious tone as the two men nodded in agreement, they all soon settled down, as Juniper spoke. Oh, where was I? Yeah, we don't mind having an alliance with you, not only because of the Black Arms and to deal with them, but also cause Arcadia doesn't mind having an alliance with the other world. Especially the world that my husband talked so well about. Many nodded in acceptance upon this, as the documents were signed, as Azazel soon spoke. Well, that said and done, may I ask a question to Juniper about the Black Arms? Juniper nodded in response, as Azazel asked. How bad were they during their actions in Arcadia? Like what exactly are we dealing with? Supernatural beings, what are we talking about? Azazel's words were nodded by Juniper as she responded. I think you are familiar with mutants and zombies, right? Issei told me about games that are present here, like Resident Evil for instance, that is what you can presume. The only difference is that this time we will be dealing with something worse, since both science and magic are getting involved. Juniper's words made Azazel shudder, he couldn't imagine the bows coming to life, as Issei spoke. Oh, trust me, Azazel-sensei, it is far, far worse than what you presume. While dealing with them, our only option is to kill. They will capture, torment and experiment on their prisoners. One of John's friends was a victim. John nodded to his father's words, while a growl was heard from his end, everyone knew that the situation was dire. They had to act quickly otherwise they would be done for. Very well then we shall, speaking of which, have you heard of the Azazel Cup? Auden asked Issei, to which he shook his head and spoke. No, why? Ra then spoke in response. It is more akin to a tournament, more accurately, an international rating game tournament organized by Lord Ajuka Beelzebub and Lord Shiva in preparation of the sealing of 666. Initially it was in order to alleviate the tension between the various mythologies, but now, it is more or less a celebration, since that tension has been alleviated. Not to mention, it was supposed to happen 3.5 years ago, but with your sudden disappearance, it was cancelled. However, when you returned, we decided to have it again. It would take a few days for preparation. And we wouldn't mind if you can bring 2 teams from your side, your highness. Horus added to Ra's words, as Issei looked at Juniper and spoke. Sure, we wouldn't mind, right? Juniper nodded as she spoke, yep. We would like to join. Great, then in that case, the meeting is done for we will meet again soon. Surziches spoke as all the leaders minus Azazel teleported back home. Leaving only the devils present, as many of them were happy for Issei's return. Graphius soon gave a blow to Issei's stomach, making him cough up. Everyone including Galath was surprised by this action, as she soon hugged him. Idiot, you made me so worried. Issei quickly recovered, he had taken much tougher blows than before as he spoke. Hey, it's okay, Graphiani. It's alright. Regardless, it is good to have you back, Ice-chan. Issei returned the smile back to Seraphil as he had spoken in response, yep. Anyways, Juniper, sorry about Rias and her peerage, including Arena. Never thought they would come here of all places. Juniper shook her head and spoke, it's alright, Surziches. I had a feeling that she would show herself here, considering what Issei had told me about. No need to beat yourself up for her actions. Surziches nodded, as Azazel asked with a smile, speaking of which teams are you planning to send? Haven't thought of them yet, but I will soon think, although I am considering sending 2 teams from our end, so that is confirmed. I see, send me the details at the earliest, okay. Azazel spoke as he teleported along with Surziches and the devils, leaving the Arc family alone with Mary, who spoke. So, are you excited to meet Mom and Dad? Mary looks at the kids and speaks, your paternal grandparents would love to meet them. Mary spoke while looking at her nieces and nephew, as they all nodded in agreement. I am not sure, Mary Nee, I don't think. Issei spoke with doubt as Juniper cuts him off and speaks, Issei, remember what we promised last night, right? They are your parents and they would love to meet them. Even I would love to meet them. Juniper spoke with a smile, as Issei gave a nod as he spoke, well then let's head there. Issei spoke with a smile, as they all agreed to do so. The Arc siblings were excited to meet their grandparents, as they were wondering on what is going to happen in the Hyoudou residence. Scene change. Unknown location, Underworld, 5:30 p.m. Someone watched the Underworld location. She was a beautiful young woman with the cute face of a child that has long black hair and with pointy ears. She wears a cute frilly dress called Godly Virgin Killer clothes that has a corset jumper skirt. Her body also gives out a tremendous dark aura. This was Nyx, the primordial goddess of darkness. Seems like we can begin our first attack here, right Ingvild? Ingvild looked at her and gave a nod. Nyx shook her head, wondering on how she became this broken. She wasn't told about what the Black Arms did to her, but for now, she had to do what Hades asked her to do. However, before she could continue, suddenly a magic circle was heard. She scowled knowing who it was, as she growled, "What do you want, Nicholas?" "I am here to warn you, leave the attack and come back, the Arcadians are here." Nyx became wide-eyed and nodded as he spoke, "We will be falling back, our plan will be changed a bit, we need to have Samuel ready for our attack, don't waste Ingvald, she is someone important." Nyx scowled at how Nicholas saw his own allies. She hated him due to the amount of psychopathic tendency this man had, but she had to listen to him, since she also feared and was concerned about the growing strength of the Longinus wielders and Arcadians, and had to deal with them accordingly. "Very well, I am coming back." Nyx spoke as she soon teleported. She did not want to work with them, but didn't have much choice to begin with. Issei Hyoudou stats. Name: Issei Hyoudou. Title: Emperor of Arcadia, Red Dragon Emperor, Arcadian Hero, Dragon Monarch. Level: 1345. Experience points, EXPR. 15,134,500. Race: Dragon God. Health points, HP. 258,258,000. Mana: 100%. Fatigue: 0. Strength, STR. 98,310. Vitality, VIT. 100,003. Agility, AGL. 110,652. Intelligence, INT. 94,560. Senses, SES. 120,982. Luck, LCK. 92,000. Lean, 10 trillion. Issei's team. For those who want. King: Issei Hyoudou. Queen: Juniper Arc. Knight, X2. And Ren. Bishop, X2. Mary Hyoudou. Brook, X2. Invictus. Pawn, X8. Willow Schnee. 2 days later. Hyoudou residence, 9:30 am. Isay was seated in the outside of Kuo residence. 2 days have passed since he was back in his home. Both him, his wife, his children, Artemis and Galath, have all settled down. They have adjusted to a regular life. Just 2 days ago, he remembered how he was basically dragged into his house. At first, it was only him and his sister who headed inside to reunite him with his parents. They didn't recognize him at first, thinking him as someone important and close to Mary, even presuming him to be her boyfriend, which made both of them gag. However, when they saw Issei again, they were shocked to see their son return from being missing, and after a tearful reunion. But Issei not meeting his parents for 35 years was something. Even them presuming their child to be presumed dead for 3.5 years was something. However, there was another surprise. Not only was their son married to a woman named Juniper, but also having 8 grandchildren shocked them to no bound. It almost caused Mickey, Issei's mother, to pass out. But Goro handled her. Needless to say, they were happy. However, they were angered that they weren't invited for the wedding or even introduced to Juniper, let alone saw any of their grandchildren being born. But Issei and Mary explained to them about the situation. For Issei, he did not see any of them for 35 years, since they couldn't locate his earth at all. Needless to say, they were happy for Issei being a father of 8 children, and them being grandparents made things even better. They happily accepted Juniper and the 8 grandchildren that they had. They even met Artemis Arc and Galath Arc. But they weren't the only ones that had a proper reunion. Issei had a proper reunion with Hyoudou Kiba, Gaspar Vladi, Tosca and Elmenhold. They all were just happy that Issei was back. Even if he is the Emperor of Arcadia, he is still their friend, and that was matters. They even happily accepted his wife, seeing her as a big sister, and the kids. But Issei was concerned about Arcadia. The Emperor and the Empress being missing would cause problems. As a result, Juniper suggested making Remnant and Earth time as one, without affecting Arcadia or Earth DXD in any way. How were they able to achieve this? Well, it was with the Infinity Stones. Anything could be possible. The only people that know of its power are those that Issei and Juniper trust, which was mostly the faction leaders and their family along with some other people. They did not want to tell Mickey and Goro as they did not want to freak them out, but they would tell them when they were ready. It took them a lot of time to understand that their grandchildren can easily wipe out entire armies, with one even going so far as to taking out an entire planet, which was something even their son was capable of. In fact, he could destroy so much more. As a result, his strength is tied to Willow, the strongest person in all of Arcadia, which makes him the strongest man in all of Arcadia as well. Now they have settled down as regular people, with the humans of Kuo unaware of literal royal people being present in the same hometown as them. They were in disguise, since the Black Arms can pose as regular humans, which is a problem. Eliminating them is an even bigger problem. While this wouldn't pull the suspicion off them, it would at least protect them, even for a short while, as they could only hope that they don't go after his parents to weaken the Emperor, and even the rest of the Arc siblings. They were just ordinary civilians, and unlike the ones in Arcadia, never had military training and were extremely old. The two were in their 60s. He had a sip of tea. His parents really enjoyed his kids, especially John and Rosemary. They got along relatively well. His life seemed to be returning back to his regular self. It was the best 30th year anniversary gift he could have asked for. Him reuniting with his world was the best thing they could ask for. Suddenly Juniper came inside, alongside Issei Hyoudou, as Issei sensed them with Juniper speaking. "I have brought some cookies, I hope you are not too busy." "Not at all, Juniper, Mom, not at all." Issei responded with a smile, knowing he wouldn't mind having a chat. Issei was seated beside Juniper and opposite his mother. Mickey then asked. "So Issei, I heard you have already graduated from 2 academies." Issei nodded as he spoke. "Yep, and I even have the degrees to prove that I am graduated." Issei opened a magic portal and gave the documents to his mother, and she had a smile. Juniper soon explained. "Issei first graduated from Academia, a place where even I and even John graduated from. Its entrance and curriculum is one of the hardest in all of the academies in Arcadia. And only the strongest are accepted there." Mickey intently listened as Juniper continued. "Then we have the Academy of Magic. It is also pretty hard to get in, using a high-tier magic to get into, not as hard as Academia, but it nevertheless is, and Issei is not the only one that graduated from. Aqua is also one of the few that did so. In fact, most of our children have graduated from some or the other academy." "But Rosemary is pretty young. How old were they when they graduated?" Mickey asked with concern, to which Juniper spoke. "Most were around 15 to 16, that is when they joined the army," Issei added as well. "You usually do a year or 2 of military service before you pick your future career." Mickey became worried as she was about to speak her concerns. However, Juniper spoke. "I understand your concerns. I can see that you may see them as too young for that. In fact, I myself joined the military at that age." Issei joined when he was in his 20s. He became the leader of our squad much to everyone's surprise, and cleared the military. Right now his position is general of the army. His legion is in Arcadia. Not to mention, our homeworld is riddled with invasions from extraterrestrial beings. So to defend that, we had to place this rule, so that our citizens can be ready. For anything. Mickey understood this as she spoke with an understanding tone. "I see. Anyways, speaking of which, where are the kids?" Issei asked, to which Mickey spoke. "They are with your dad and older sister. Even the others are talking with them. So they are spending some time with them except for John." "Why? Where did he go?" Juniper asked with concern. As Mickey spoke, he said he was going back to his world and has been gone for an hour or 2. Apparently someone named Violet had called him. He told me that he wanted to set the team up for the Azazel Cup. "I see," Issei spoke, as he soon became pale, as Juniper asked with concern. "Is something wrong?" Issei looked at Juniper and spoke. "It's the queen position in the Azazel Cup. Since many girls love him, it is going to be chaos." "Oh dear." Mickey spoke with concern, as Issei was about to get up and stop the chaos, but Juniper grabbed his hand and said, "No worries, Ice, our boy has got this. He will come back perfectly fine." Juniper is right, that boy is pretty resilient, reminds me of a younger you, when you were so young and perverted. Issei grumbled in defeat as he sighed. He soon sat down as he spoke. "I guess you are right. Speaking of teams, have you decided on which team you are going to go for?" Issei thought for a moment, as he looked towards Juniper, knowing who his queen piece was going to be. Juniper knew this and smiled in return. "I have a few candidates in mind, that is for sure. My team shouldn't contain many members, just the 4 of the big 4, along with some more people, will assist us in fighting." Issei spoke as Mickey asked. "The big 4? Mickey asked, to which Juniper responded. "It is basically me, your son, along with 2 others that will be joining the fight. Normally we would have brought even more people. But with the rules of the Azazel Cup only limiting a few beings to participate, I have thought of someone that would love to join us." Juniper knew who he was talking about, as Mickey asked. "Who is that?" Issei responded to his mother. "An old friend from my legion, although I wonder if he would be up for the task. He is actually a Grim. I take it I must have informed you about them, right, mother?" Juniper spoke as Mickey responded. "Yep, I know that. I am surprised at how beings that were meant to destroy humanity became friends with them. It was a surprise too. Like eons ago, they were mindless beasts under the command of the god of darkness, but the ancient Grim decided enough is enough and fled the lands. Where they ended up was that of Arcadia. The ancient Grim built a settlement, and its species grew. They weren't the mindless creatures made by the god of darkness, but their own people. The Grim started gaining sentience and became just like you, me, or any Arcadian. The 4 founders discovered them and was met with hostiles at first, but in the end, we were able to create an alliance with the people of Arcadia, thus making the Grim a part of their kingdom, or empire now, and today they are a valuable ally for us." Juniper explained as Mickey intently, as Issei continued. And his name is Invictus. We have been good friends ever since we met in the Academy of Magic, and from here on out we almost became akin to best friends. Trust me, Mom, you will love them," Mickey nodded in response, as she asked. "Issei, can you tell me one thing?" Mickey's expression became a more teasing tone. Who was the first one that confessed? Both became completely red, as Mickey started to smile even more. She soon spoke. "Tell your mother, who was the one that did it?" Juniper meekly raised her hand as she spoke. It was I, mother." "You did? Tell me more." Juniper looked away as she couldn't meet her mother-in-law's eyes, as she spoke with a stammer. "It all happened when." Issei's senses picked up something all of a sudden, as Mickey noticed this and spoke. "Oh, I sense John back. I believe he would have something more interesting to tell us." Mickey seemed to have a pout on her face, as she spoke with an annoyed tone. "Fine, but I want to hear everything, okay?" Juniper looked towards Issei and gave a relieved tone. The couple mentally thanked John for returning at the right time, as it was pretty embarrassing to tell about the confession scene. Scene change. John was seen, completely dirtied by what happened. His clothes had dust, and his hair was messy. Some of the sisters were chuckling seeing John's state, as Issei asked while stifling his laugh. "So how did it go?" Issei asked with intrigue as John gave a frustrated sigh. "Take a guess, it was war on who will take my queen piece." "In the end, who became the queen piece? Was it Violet?" Juniper asked, to which John spoke. "It was Himeko that became the queen piece," Bianca asked with confusion. "Wait, how? Like you cherished Violet the most, right?" John gave a sigh as he explained. Flashback begins. The girls in the 1-5 were having a shouting match, or more accurately, the ones in the original 15 were clashing with each other. However, the one that was clashing the most was Scarlet Madison and Violet Evergarden. Scarlet was described to be a person that of a tall woman with long straight hair, with a large fringe in the middle of her forehead. She also has blue eyes. While Violet was a beautiful woman, but has some childish facial features, which give her a doll-like appearance. She has a slim build of medium height and fair skin. Her face is a little narrow and elongated, with large blue eyes and thick dark lashes. The blonde hair ends on her hips, but in front of her face she has a fringe that ends in the middle of the eyebrows divided into 3 strands. One falls on her face, and the remaining 2 blend into 2 longer strands that end on the shoulders. She ties them in a low ponytail tied with a black ribbon. "Oh, I will be his queen piece in the Azazel Cup," Scarlet shouted, as Violet responded. "Keep dreaming, bitch, the last thing that will happen is you being his queen." John could only watch the scene with a sweat drop. He tried to stop them only for them to drag him with them in the fight. He decided to not intervene, as he and the boys of the original 15 could only watch with total helplessness. "Oh yeah? Keep telling yourself that, Flatty," Scarlet angrily retorted, to which Violet responded angrily. "Tell that to my face." Violet was ready to unleash her magic attack, only for someone to create a magic barrier between them. This was Himeko Murata. She was a beautiful woman with red hair and orange eyes. She was not happy with what was happening. "Alright, that's enough, all of you." The original 15 stopped fighting, as Murata angrily retorted. "Don't you girls realize that you are causing so much problem for John? I will become his queen, none of you will become his queen, end of story." Murata was stern as she glared at the girls. They all were looking at her. They wanted to protest, but a glare from the S-rank Valkyrie made them think otherwise. "That's what I thought." Murata looked at John and spoke. "We will design the team and Scarlet and Violet will become bishops. As for the others, we will decide on who will be the other pieces." Murata looked at John and said, "I believe His Highness has sent the rules right." "Yes, Murata. Here." John showed his scroll as Himeko read the rules. She looked at it and knew all of the original 15 wouldn't be able to be a part of the team. The rules were like this. 1. Anyone can register as a king, but they can't be replaced once registered. 2. A king can register anyone on their team, as long as the targeted person isn't on another team. 3. Devils with multiple evil pieces will be treated as one piece for this tournament, with the exception of gods or god level, which will automatically be counted as 2 pieces or 8 pawn pieces. Additionally, several rules regarding god-level players participating as a pawn were implemented to prevent the appearance of several queens of the same level via promotion. 4. Each team starts with 1500 points, and they would accumulate more points by playing matches. Winning against teams with higher points would lead to an incremental increase in the points, while losing to a team with lower points than their own will result in their depletion. "I see, and we can use replacements, right?" John nodded as he responded. "They are called reserve pieces, that is all I can say." "Very well then." Himeko turns to the rest of the team, as she says, "Not everyone can fight in the original team, but rest assured you will become a reserve piece. All of you will play a part in the Azazel Cup." The original 15 minus John nods in acceptance, who was aware of the rules beforehand. Murata and John started to prepare the team and assign the roles to each of the members of the original 15. John also explained to them how the pawns amongst the group were able to be promoted to either a rook, knight, bishop or queen, allowing them to gain additional abilities and powers during the fight. They accepted the teams made, while those that were excluded remained sad, but they were assured that they would be replaced for the matchups when a different opponent was being played against. Flashback ends. I see that is fair. John sent me the list. I will send it to Azazel sensei. John nodded as he did so. Issei looked at the list, and it was fine. The list consisted of the following: King John Arc, Queen Himeko Murata, Rook Kevin Kazlana, Rook Lily Ironblooded, Bishop Scarlet Madison, Bishop Violet Evergarden, Knight Tallulah, Knight Chen, Pawn X2 Kafka, Pawn Yoji Atami, Pawn Vladilin Alina Milais, PAWN X2 Bronyas Achik, Pawn Bianca Adagina, Pawn Ferlin Church. This seems fine in my opinion. Issei responded as John asked, "What about you, Dad? Are you going to participate?" Issei nodded as he responded, "Indeed I will. I haven't developed my team as of yet, and I do expect you and the original 15 to put on a good fight." "I will, Dad. I will." John spoke with a smile. As Mickey spoke, "Are you girls also planning to participate?" "No, grandmother, we will be spectating the fight rather than outright fighting since we need to see if there is anything wrong with Hades and the rest of the terrorists." The other Arc sisters nodded in response as Mickey spoke. "Very well, I wouldn't blame you cause even we are planning to see the fights." Goro spoke in agreement. "Mickey is correct, we all will be seeing, so I ask you two to give your very best, John," and Issei nodded in understanding, as they knew that the Azazel Cup would not only be important for them, but also their goal of locating the Black Arms and heading back home. Scene change. Arcadia, 12 p.m. Issei and Juniper were back in Arcadia as they talk about the other members that would be participating in Azazel Cup. They would be needing 4 more people for this. Fortunately, Mary volunteered for this, becoming the bishop of the team. She took up 2 slots for the team due to her having 2 sacred gears, which were Innovate Clear and Tilo's Karma. Now they were talking to 3 of their old friends. The first was Willow Schnee, who completely looked different. She now had long silver hair, has bangs parted to either side of her face. She had bright cyan cat-like pupils. Her signature wardrobe is a long black coat with silver pauldrons, black boots, a black bra and black trousers. The top of her coat is open to reveal his chest, with her leather soldier suspenders crossed over it. Then Ren was the next to follow. She now looked much older. She now had dusky rose hair held in a bun by a gray band and pink eyes. She wore a long green dress with dark green around the shoulders. It has long flared sleeves that have cutouts on the shoulders with a large band of plum purple on the cuffs. She wears a pair of black ballet flats and a pink sash around her waist. The third was a Grimm. He had glowing white eyes and a metal armor that would contain his body. His armor also has a medieval design, as well as held a sword in his hand. He also wore a crown. This was Invictus, the right-hand man of Issei, and his best male friend while in Arcadia. "I am glad you guys could make it. I think you are familiar with the Azazel Cup, right?" None of them responded as Issei spoke. "Here, I will explain. So basically, Azazel Cup is a tournament similar to raiding games, except it is basically involving gods and other beings. Here are the rules." Issei gave the scroll for all 3 to read as they took a moment and spoke. "I see, so most, if not all of us will take multiple pieces due to our power, right?" And responded, to which Issei nodded. "Indeed, and most of your opponents aren't going to be the ones in the 4 kingdoms, they are much more powerful than them." "We are aware, Issei, you managed to get on our level in far less time, even surpassing that of An and Juniper." "Issei, we won't hold back, rest assured." Willow added, to which Issei nodded as he spoke. "Anyways, are you in?" "I am in for this," Willow responded, to which Juniper spoke. "Great, so you will be a pawn, and you will take up 8 pawn pieces." "Wait, why pawn pieces? I should be the queen." Juniper's eye twitched in response as she spoke coldly. "Sorry, Willow, but that position will be mine." Willow looked at her for a moment. She did not want to provoke her in any way, as she could see Issei and ready to stop it, as she knew Issei was the only one that could stop her, even in her safer Sephiroth form. "Geez, fine," Willow spoke with a sigh as Issei spoke. "It's no worries, Willow. An advantage of a pawn is that it can promote mid-fight, allowing you to easily either become a rook, bishop, knight or queen. That would give you a stat advantage." "I see. So it is like a game of chess, right?" Willow responded as she gave a smile. "Sure, why not? Although, I believe like chess, there has to be a condition, right?" Willow asked, to which Issei spoke. "Indeed, there is, only you can promote when in enemy territory during usual raiding games, and some types have a different time and position upon when you can promote." Willow nodded in understanding as she accepted being a part of this. And soon asked, "What about me? You will take up the role of the knight, hope you don't mind," and shook her head and spoke. "Nope, not at all." He finally looked towards Invictus, remembering how they met 34 years ago, when Issei was still adjusting to Arcadia. He still needed a little more time to completely adjust. He met Invictus while they were in Magic Academy. The former had lost directions to the Academy of Technology. Issei helped him, and, once he reached there, the Grim thanked him. Eventually, they kept meeting up due to collaborations and became good friends, and this increased during their time in the army. While Issei feared hanging out with the girls, Invictus was the person that he chose to hang out with, thus becoming best friends. Ironically, Invictus was the first person to sense the fear of women in Issei's heart. When confronted upon it, the Grim came to know about it, and he hated the orc girls, but the most he hated was Rias Gremory, along with someone that started his fear, which was a fallen angel named Rainer. Heading back to the present, Invictus handled the Legion while Issei was away, especially after he became the Emperor of Arcadia and the father of several children. Issei personally had a lot of work to do. He had to ensure his children get trained properly, with him personally training and working with them, and he had to also deal with the duties of being the emperor. Issei would agree that without Invictus, life would have been much duller without him. Now, Invictus, your goal will be the rook of the team, is that alright with you? Invictus shook his head and spoke, I don't mind, although am I going to face John and his team as well? This was a question even the other two had, as Issei gave a nod and spoke. Yes, you will be facing John's team, although the matchups will be decided in 3 to 4 days, so I would suggest we locate Samuel as soon as possible. Once we deal with that, we should be in the clear as we deal with those three, along with Hades and his allies. The trio nodded. They were well briefed and made aware of the situation thanks to Osban, as they understood that the Black Arms working with Hades and his gods will be problematic. I see so any plans? And asked to which Issei spoke, Hades is laying low, along with his gods. Since we don't know where Samuel is, we need to be careful, cause I have a feeling that Hades will try to play something funny during the Azazel Cup, that way we can locate and find out on what he is doing. But wait, shouldn't Cao know about it? Juniper asked, remembering the true Longinus wielder, and on how, despite being a human, he could easily destroy the 4 kingdoms effortlessly without any aura. Indra and Shiva tried speaking to him, but he was clueless. He couldn't find out where Samuel was, since the last time he saw it. It was not there. I believe Carmilla had a hand in moving him to a safer location. She does not get rid of her creations that easily. Willow made a low growl, remembering how much of a pain Carmilla was even before the Arc Civil War, especially to the Big Four. Issei and the others knew that Carmilla wouldn't be easy to beat, let alone easy to capture and kill. I see. Juniper responded as and spoke, very well, we will need to act quickly. We can't even storm them knowing how they will operate, right? You got that one, right? So our only option is to wait for them to come here, Willow asked, to which Issei nodded. I don't think we have much of a choice, and besides I am going to enjoy dealing with Hades. I have some payback, I need to give that racist god. Issei spoke with a growl, remembering how Hades had a hand in killing him, courtesy of Shalba Beelzebub. Juniper kept her hand on Issei, calming him down. Issei did so, as and asked. Anyways, you went to Beacon, right? Issei nodded as and spoke, how is Lai doing? He is doing fine, along with the last Cetra, and the others. It turns out that they all supported him, and accepted him despite using fake transcripts. Even Team RWBY actually accepted them. It was really hard for John to say goodbye to them. For now I think Lai should be in the 4 kingdoms. I understand, I haven't seen him for years. I wonder if he even remembers me or not, and spoke while looking away as Willow kept her hand on her friend as Issei spoke. Once we are done with the mess here, we can head back. I am pretty sure he would be more than happy to see that his parents survived. I guess, and used, as Issei decided to change the topic. Anyways, I will send the details of the 2 teams to Azazel, and we should get the matchups relatively soon. The 3 nodded in response, as Invictus asked, so who is our bishop then? My older sister Mary is taking up that role. Willow then mused, the Holmari you mentioned about, but shouldn't she be your younger sister? Willow, Mary will always be my older sister no matter what happens. Willow nodded as Issei and Juniper decided to send the teams along with the teammates to Azazel for registration. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.